Howdy folks and welcome back to another episode of Tyria Talk. My name is Richard Procopio, aka Bog Otter, and this show is all about Guild Wars 2. Today is episode number 61, and today I'd like to discuss the upcoming feature pack which will be released to Guild Wars 2 on April 15, 2014. Now, the past few patches that we've gotten have all been about wrapping up the season 1 of the living world and the story, and have really not have much in the way of new features or enhancements to the game. Well, that's going to be remedied come this next patch, and Guild Wars 2 and the ArenaNet's official page has been updated to kind of start teasing out what's going to be coming out there. And there's a lot of information, and there's going to be more coming out, but I thought maybe we can jump into the website together and talk about it. Let's look at it and analyze it and just get kind of excited about what the features are. Does that sound like a good idea? Well, who asked you anyway? Let's get to it. All right, so we'll jump into the browser here, and here is the release page, and you can see here we have the current releases: Battle for Lion's Arch, Aftermath, all that stuff, and then the feature pack is being kind of teased here. And the first kind of jump point showing you what everything is here is there's a bunch of blog posts that are already out. These came out on the 20th and the 21st of March, and we're going to go through some of these. But let's look real quick at what's upcoming. Tomorrow we have a new way to explore the looks of Guild Wars 2. Please, please make this the wardrobe system. I'm begging you. That would change the game for me. So we can check back tomorrow to see what that is. A colorful outlook. Maybe dyes are going to become account bound. I'm not sure. Looking for group is getting updated, I guess. March 26th. So they're going to add it so that it actually does matchmaking now, or do you still just kind of use it as a way to advertise your group is looking for more? Removing restrictions on March 27th. Who knows what that's going to be? Account bound. More things become account bound. I said dies before, right? What else could become account bound? That would be awesome. Solid foundation. No idea what that is. Facilitating friendly play part 2 and part 3. So these are what the blog posts that we can look forward to over the next week or two. But let's look at the ones that are already released. This is just crazy. Traits unleashed. 40 new traits. All right, let's take a look at this. So trait tiers. One fundamental change to the way traits function is that you won't be required to visit a professional trainer and purchase a training manual to access Adept Master and Grandmaster trait tiers. And there was much rejoicing. Yay. It's a simple, tiny change, right? But it has a big impact. That is so annoying when you're leveling up alt. You're like, oh, I can't unlock the next traits because I gotta get that stupid book. And if you're anal like me, you don't want to pay full price for the book. So what you do is you go on the trading post and you put it in a buy offer, and then you log out, and you hopefully in an hour or two you can get that book for cheaper because you're just like a little greedy miser like me. I gotta hold on to all my coins. But so anyway, I love that change. It's just simple, and it doesn't, for a new player who's jumping in, they might not know where to go for that, and it just stops the game for them. So I'm glad to see that's gone. Now, as part of making this more approachable, they pushed back the level at which different trait tiers unlock for new characters in order to better pace the early game experience and add more meaningful character progression from levels 30 to 80. So starting with the feature pack, new characters will unlock the Adept tier at level 30, Master tier at level 60, and the Grandmaster tier at level 80. All right, so it's a bit of a change. I'm not sure that there's much impact to me in that. I mean, even if I'm leveling up an alt, I think that's an okay change. It just pushes some things back a little bit. Let's continue. Trait points. Currently, level 80 players have 70 trait points to spend across the trait lines, but they're condensing that now. So that means so you only get 1 point. And it's the equivalent of 5 of the old points. That's what they're changing it. So each point has more value. So this means at level 80, you're only going to have 14 points to assign instead of 70. So they're squishing it quite a bit. And you'll start acquiring points at level 30 when the Adept trait tier is unlocked. And then you'll earn 1 trait point every 6 levels until level 66, when you'll start earning 2 trait points at a time. I'm not sure I love this. I know what they're going for there, I guess the question is, like, my argument against it would be something like, well, this makes it so leveling up is less impactful, right? Leveling up and not getting a point to put in a trait line kind of feels like, all right, well, what really happened when I leveled up? The player doesn't really get much of a choice, And, it just makes it feel like, oh, wait, great, I leveled up. But the same token, putting in one trait point and bumping your stats up a tiny bit, does that really give you, is that worth all that much? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's going to feel a little lackluster gaining a level and not having anything to get for it. But at the same token, when you look at the old system, was there really much going on there anyway? I'm not sure how I feel about that. And I also don't love that all of a sudden, when you hit level 66, you get 2 trait points. It just seems so random and like arbitrary. I don't know. Let's continue. So they're increasing the value of individual trait points. Means that when you're spending a point in a line, you'll receive 50 of each associated stat, and you'll unlock the minor or major trait slots. So when you do get to these key levels where you're spending a trait point, it has a big impact because you're getting 50 of your stats that where you're spending the point, those 2 stats, and you also get your minor or a major slot, depending on what level it is, right away. For that. So you do kind of build up these levels of, where you actually have a lot of impact from it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that actually feels when you're playing it. This section is wrapped up by them saying that it's going to be easier for new players to understand, because right now someone can spend 11 trait points in one line and then 14 in another and actually not hit those minor trait or major trait milestones and have a less effective build. I guess they might have stats on this kind of stuff to see that, how pervasive this is. It wouldn't seem to me that there's that many people having a problem with that, or but I guess they have the stats to back up that there's a lot of players that just don't know what to do with trait points and just kind of put them willy-nilly everywhere. And I guess it will help players get less frustrated by giving themselves a disadvantage that they weren't expecting. So refunding traits. This is awesome. All right, the button to instantly refund all traits previously seen only in structured PvP areas has become game-wide. All right, you can do it for free across the entire game. That means anytime you're out of combat or not in a competitive PvP match, you can actually just reset your traits and switch them up. How much fun is that? That is the best. That is such a great way to be able to test out builds and make small tweaks for specific fights in a dungeon or whatnot. Oh, man. I love it when MMO companies actually go through their game and say, all right, what kind of stuff are we restricting for no particular reason? What kind of quality life changes can we do, change just by freeing this up a bit? World of Warcraft, I remember going through several iterations of that where they suddenly just went, oh yeah, we're going to let you do this now. And you're like, thank God, but these things feel so good. I love this. All right, so that's a great change. All right, unlocking traits. All major traits are going to be locked on characters created after the feature pack. All right, all existing characters created before April 15th will now have their previously existing major traits unlocked. So they're going to do this new thing where you actually have to unlock your major traits. So major traits are going to be unlocked via trait guides, a new in-game item. So you're going to double click on a trait guide and it's going to unlock the associated trait. All right, you can find these traits by completing content. They're saying story dungeons, mini dungeons, world versus world, personal story, specific bosses, and discovering certain areas on the world map. All right, so what they're doing here, this is a throwback a little bit to the original Guild Wars. All right, now in the original Guild Wars, players loved that once you hit max level, there was still so much to do in terms of like a horizontal progression system. You would actually go out in the world and you would try to unlock your skills, and you would have to capture your elite skills by using a capture signet, I think it was, and you actually found a boss in the world or a creature in the world that had the skill that you wanted, and you would use that skill on them to try to capture it. So it was kind of like I don't know, it was a collector's. Some people just wanted to collect all of the skills like a Pokemon type of thing, and other people just they wanted to go get the most powerful ones to create certain builds for themselves. And it was something that people really liked in Guild Wars 1, and is a system like that is lacking in Guild Wars 2. Well, it looks like they're trying to kind of do that with this trait system. And maybe as they add more traits to the game, there are going to be different types of content in game to actually go and seek them out. They can add like a new dungeon or a new world boss or something, and that's the way to kind of capture these new traits that they're going to be adding. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It's going to be a little bit funky in the beginning when you have this like transitionary period where, you know, all the characters that you have that already have unlocked those traits, they're not going to need to go out in the world and unlock them, but you create an alt and now suddenly there's this whole new kind of progression system in place. But yeah, it should be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. And new Grandmaster traits. They're introducing 40 new Grandmaster traits. So each trait line for each profession will now have one new Grandmaster trait to unlock with the trait unlocking system they just discussed. So right away, we're going to have to go out in the world and unlock our Grandmaster traits. And then you're going to have new build possibilities because at the end of each one of your 5 trait lines per class, you have a new Grandmaster choice. So it's not going to be just, what is it, two different Grandmaster traits that you get to choose from now. That are only available on that Grandmaster line. Now you'll actually have 3. So it's going to be cool. Now they actually, I'm not going to go through all of these, but they have an example of each class, what those traits would be. But you could find this on the site. Yeah, so real big news there. And now they go into rune sigils and balance updates. This is also coming in the patch. Runes as a set. So as we preview the balance runes in Guild Wars 2, our goal is to make sure each rune set has a clear purpose and reason to be built. And one of their main considerations with this balance was encouraging players to use one whole rune set rather than mixing and matching from different or several different sets. So what they're doing is they're shifting the stat weights so that the 4th, 5th, and 6th piece bonuses are actually worth more, and and the earlier ones are worth less. So that sticking with one rune set will have a certain set of advantages. It'll just be it's worth more than it was in the past. In the past, you could actually go down just 2 or 3, or actually like 2 or 4 runes in a set, and actually get a lot of benefit out of it, and then switch to 2 or 4 from another set and get those bonuses as well. So it's interesting that they're pushing this, because it almost seems like why not just do what they do in PvP? They're going to be doing this in PvP. They're going to be making it so you just get one rune. You don't actually get 6 runes anymore in PvP. You just get one rune, and that has all the stats on it for that particular type. And so why not just do that in PvE, I wonder? If they don't want you to mix and match, just make it a set and be done with it. And then you choose which set gives you, which one rune gives you the most benefit, and be done with it. So I guess they explained it a little bit here. They say, we know that some builds rely on mixing and matching different runes to optimize a given stat, and we don't want to stop players from doing that, but they want to limit, rather than limit build diversity, they simply want PvE rune system to be clear and as approachable as possible to new players. I can understand that a bit. A new player is going to go in there, let's look at the current system, and they're going to say, oh, okay, this particular rune set looks really great. And so they get all 6 runes for that type, and they slot it into their gear, not knowing that the mathematicians in the Guild Wars universe have factored out, no, you actually need 2 runes from this one set, 4 runes from this set, and that's how you maximize that kind of damage build. So yeah, it could be a little bit daunting to new players, not realizing that, hey, the best thing to do is not necessarily to go all the way down one rune set. I don't know. It's an interesting choice. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'll be pretty neutral, to be honest. There's so much good stuff in here. I'm allowed to I can wave off a couple of things I'm not so happy about. Rune functionality. So they're updating a lot of runes to have a specific focus, such as adding a particular boon or condition, or catering to a supporting or offensive role. I'm not sure if I read it here or not. It might be in here somewhere. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you, but I think like every single rune set is being touched. And they're going to try to make some of them a little bit more specialized. They give an example here. For example, the current 6 rune bonus for the rune of the Nightmare provides a 5% chance to cause fear when hit. Well, 5% chance when you're hitting, it's hard to rely on that in PvP or World versus World. So they are updating it. And so now the 6 rune bonus proc for superior rune sets will have a 50% likelihood, making the bonus much more reliable and interesting for all kinds of combat. So that's pretty cool. Let me give an example of the superior rune of the eagle here. Runes in PvP, I kind of went over this. It's not going to be a rune set anymore. It's just one rune that gives you all the stats. Okay, so that's how PvP is going to work. There's no mention so far of a way to save your builds. I really hope that a templating system or a way to save your bills will be at some point. I mean, if it's not in this feature patch in the future, please, we need that. All right, so sigils, fewer hidden rules. All right, so right now there's a whole bunch of kind of behind the scenes stuff about like, does this stack with this, and can you use this with that? And there's a whole bunch of these rules that aren't apparent to players, especially new players. So what they're going to do now is all sigil recharges are separate. So you'll be able to use a sigil of energy on swap and still have your sigil of fire activate on a critical hit. Likewise, your sigil of fire and sigil of air will have separate recharges. All right, but sigils of the same type don't work together. So you can't have two sigils of blood. And there's a warning now. Sigils do not stack with any tier of the same sigil type. On-kill sigils have received an update as well. The functionality of each sigil has changed so that killing a player is worth 5 stacks of a sigil in any game mode, while killing a monster still only grants 1 stack. This type of sigil will have more strict rules applied to them, so the player will no longer be able to gain 25 stacks and then unequip the sigil. All right, so there's a little bit of play styles being interrupted there, but I think that's a good change overall. There's going to be 2 sigils on two-handed weapons, which is great. People have complained about that for a long time, that, dual wielding was somewhat better than two-handed weapons because you could only have the one sigil in a two-handed weapon. That's been fixed. And they're going to do a bunch of balance changes to sigils. All right, compare the sigils of air and fire in the current system. Fire is pretty much always better because it can hit 5 targets for almost the exact same damage on the exact same recharge. With the coming update, both sigils will have a 50% chance to activate. The sigil of air will just drop to a 3-second recharge, while fire will remain at a 5-second recharge and will slightly reduce the damage. Changes like this will make more sigils viable. So they're going to be updating a bunch of those as well. On-hit sigils. With this update, we're updating a few of our attack-based sigils to be used in builds that aren't heavily reliant on critical hits. With this, we're changing a few of the more defensive sigils, namely Ice, Purity, Frailty, and Water, to grant their bonuses when you hit an opponent rather than when you score a critical hit. All right, that's good. Again, they're trying to gear people more and more towards not just always stacking Berserker gear and going for crit, and actually having on-crit sigils. Kind of caters to those type of builds, right? Yeah. So it gives you even more reason to stack crit. Well, now some of these are going to go to an on-hit system, and it helps support the more supporty builds, which is cool. And they're going to give updates to all of the classes. Again, they're going to just do a pass on them and make some updates to what they are. Again, they're all listed here. I'm not going to go through every single one of these because that would take forever, but those are some pretty cool changes. And finally, the last one that is updated right now is learning about the critical damage changes. I'm not going to go heavy into this because we've known about this for a long time. They're adding a new stat called Ferocity. And Ferocity is going to work like a normal stat like Vitality or Toughness. It starts at a base of 0 and can be increased with your gear, traits, and buffs. Okay, so Ferocity is going to function like Precision. Just like your critical hit chance will go up as your Precision increases, your bonus critical damage goes up as you put more points into Ferocity. So as a result, critical damage will be displayed in a manner that is consistent with the main stats rather than just a flat percentage. Now going along with that, they are reducing the maximum attainable critical damage. So they want to support the variety of builds like we've said before. So they're changing up the formula. At level 80, it will take 15 points of Ferocity to gain 1% bonus critical damage, which means there will be about a 10% decrease in overall damage for a full Berserker build. All right, the stat will still be incredibly valuable to a player looking to increase their damage output, but it'll be in line with other stats. And attainable critical damage currently in PvP will remain relatively untouched as we feel it's in a good place. So they're not really changing it on the PvP side, more of a PvE system change. All right, the UI is going to be updated to actually display the critical damage a little bit differently. You can kind of go through that on your own. Celestial gear is hit pretty hard by this change, so they're compensating by increasing the overall effectiveness of Celestial gear by improving all stats by 6% of their current values. That's a pretty good offset because I know a lot of people went out and spent a lot of resources to actually get their Celestial gear, and that should solve that. So there we go. That's a big feature update for this. Now tomorrow we're going to get even more information. I might do more videos on this as they continue to release it. Overall, let me know what you think in the comments field below. I'd be Really interested to hear about your thoughts about these changes, and what do you like, what don't you like? I think overall there are a couple things that I'm really excited about. I like the fact that you can just, refund your talents anywhere for free and really get to play around with those builds a lot. And I like the fact that we're going to be able to unlock new Grandmaster traits, and there's a new way to actually progress horizontally in the world by unlocking these traits. Some of the tweaks about the runes, how the runes are going to work and stuff, I'm not a huge fan of, and also, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Also, how don't get to spend trait points at every single level. Little bit of a disappointment on that, but I'm not sure I have a better system in mind. So I think overall I'm pretty excited about April 15 patch. Really excited to hear, hopefully tomorrow, that we're going to get some sort of wardrobe system in place. But anyway, comment below, let me know what you think of everything, and if you want to contact me, you can reach me on Twitter at Richie Procopio. You can follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/bogotter, and I'm also on Google Plus as well. You can please subscribe to this channel, hit that like and favorite button, it really helps me out a lot, and I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.